Soon I'll be to brighten up even your darkest night.
Pretty good, Spiff. That part's my sympathy.
You just fall on my hand, and you know where I am. I'll come running, yes I will. See you again. All you got to do is call, and I'll be there. You got a friend. You got a friend. If the sky above you turns dark and full of clouds, and that old road will be keep your head together. Oh, my name, soon you hear me knocking at your door. You just call on my name, and you know I'll come running, yes I will. See you again. With the strings of all you got to do is go, and I'll be there.
That's why we have a
they'll take your soul if you let them. You just call on my name, and you know wherever I am, I'm running with my
Sorry about that. You got it already.
Nice to see you. That's just cash. Okay. All right, thanks. Yep.
This is the tech center. We're in the hall. Yeah, she's putting it over.
Sit right here and then we'll figure out something else.
Right? Strawberry, chocolate,
everything going well on the technical end?
I haven't seen Susan. Oh, there she is. Sitter. This is Mike. You got Kurtz, Susan, and Joan. Okay, I just have to find Joan.
go ahead. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Hello, is everybody, can everybody hear me okay? Hello, hello. Hi, welcome. Welcome, everybody. So many lovely people here. So many happy, smiling faces. Really incredible to see the turnout and the support. And on behalf of the whole McManus family, I'd like to just thank you all for coming to celebrate Dee McManus. And while this is a time to remember Dee, this gathering is specifically for us. Despite the grief we're all feeling, I hope we can also find some moments of joy and comfort through the day in the sharing of words, food, pictures, and music. And what I wanted to reflect upon today is Dee in her final days, as her physical body was failing her. For it forced her to be vulnerable, and that's something that few of us ever witnessed. She had to rely on her kindness, or on the care, kindness, and compassion of others for all of her needs, even the most basic. And in the end, this was a huge gift. Because at her most vulnerable state, she found a shortcut to the secret of life. Joy. Pure, unadulterated joy. She finally got to let go of caring for others first and simply rejoice in the things that she loved. It was the simplest of things, having her feet rubbed, her nose scratched, hours and hours of stories, conversation, and laughter with her family, and a final cup of coffee. Her final outing to feel the sun on her face, the wind in her hair, and to see her beloved trees and flowers was truly a wonderful gift. In the end, she got to experience these things almost as if for the very first time, and with complete adoration. I'm honored to have been part of this experience, and I hope it will serve as a reminder of me of what is truly important in life.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we know there's days to sing God's praise. And when we first begun,
Thank you. Joan, would you come up and read a poem?
So here,
Yeah, just slide it
down.
close.
Okay. This poem, Who Made the World by Mary Oliver, speaks to the heart of how Dee moved through the world. She paid attention. She noticed the smallest details, whether it was the pattern of a leaf, the habits of a bird, or a way a grasshopper chews. She understood that noticing was a form of prayer. And she lived with that awareness every day, fully present, deeply curious, and determined to make the most of her one wild and precious life. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass. The one who is eating sugar out of my palm. Who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down. Who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings and away she floats. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idled and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Thanks, Joan. And now Brad McManus will come up and say a few words about his mom.
This is my son, Jax. This is my son, Avery. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's been a rough couple of weeks. So we'll get through this. For everyone that knew Mom, you know, she lived a life of curiosity, creativity, and a sense of creating a loving and caring space for everyone. This could have been through gatherings. She'd be super happy about this. Could have been through science projects, doing science projects for the Boy Scouts and teaching classes about reptiles. So I'm going to tell you a few stories about my mother through my eyes. Mom had a psychic intuition on another level. It was no joke that Mom had eyes on the back of her head. When I was a kid, I had this little toy truck that I loved to ride around everywhere. One morning, Mom woke up super early and came running down to the kitchen. Here I had decided that I was going to take that truck on an Evel Knievel ride off the stairs down into the basement. She had caught me mid-air because her dream was this small kid getting hurt at the bottom of the stairs. That just shows how Mom was deeply connected to us, and she was always looking out for us, even in her dreams. Even though Mom wasn't an artist in her own perspective, She cheered us on all the time and fostered this amazing environment of creativity. I remember when we lived in the old house, I would sneak down to the creek and collect frog eggs and toad eggs. Even though Dad would chase me back up the hill with the biggest branch he could find, Mom was waiting at the house with tons of questions of what I found. Her and I would set up an aquarium for a hatchery, and together we'd watch them grow from tiny tadpoles to frogs. We would then talk about all the different stages of the growth cycles of amphibians. It was such a magical experience, and it taught me not only about nature, but also about patience, wonder, and the joy of learning something new, especially with someone I loved. Almost every night, the bedtime story was sciences or zoology, or some kind of mechanical engineering. It was a nerd family. Every chance she had, it was an opportunity to learn through the sciences, and the environment dedicated curiosity. One of the most cherished traditions we had as a family was our annual trips to Itasca State Park. Ever since I was a little kid, Mom and the family would go up to the headwaters of the Mississippi River, and we'd dive into the wonders of nature through these amazing science classes at the campus of the U of M. We got to watch wolf packs in their natural habitat, learned how to call in owls and observe them on our night watches. We even looked through pond water and microscopes and classified the living creatures under the water. We also took boat rides and looked for nesting eagles, and of course walked across the headwaters of the Mississippi. I would also add that we also dissected owl pellets, and if you don't know what that is, you can Google it. I learned truly what Mom's motivation was for the sciences, and it was the discovery, and it was the friendships, and it was the gatherings. Those trips were magical, and they were a testament to how Mom always nurtured curiosity and love of the natural world. Mom was also a planner. Some of her plans would even catch me by surprise. When I was about 14, I had one of those classic teenager moments where I was smarting off to Mom. So back then, it was pretty common for parents to hit kids with spoons. So she decided to give me a swat on the butt. However, being 14, I just thought it was hilarious, and I was way too old for that. She went for it and ended up breaking the spoon over my ass. I couldn't stop laughing, and I started egging her on, thinking that this was the end of it. But no, Mom was a planner. She had a whole multi-pack of wooden spoons from Sam's Club. One by one, she kept on grabbing them and breaking them. We ended up just laughing about it. It was so ridiculous. Also, when I was older, when I was a teenager, I didn't always hang out with the best crowd. A lot of my friends came from difficult homes, broken homes. Whenever they found themselves in trouble, Mom was always the first to open up her doors and let them stay with us. She became known as Mama Dee. Everyone knew that at Mama Dee's, you'd always find a warm meal in a safe place. She was truly someone that cared. For a good number of my friends that actually lived with us, and when they needed a place of safety, I've always seen how her compassion and her heart for other people came through her actions. She was definitely a big hugger. Most of you know and have been to Mom's gatherings, Mom's celebrations. Her innate ability to create these gatherings for people. She would create environments where people would just meet, and she'd kind of sit in the background and just let everybody mingle. I think that's where she found her peace and her gratification. She had an incredible gift of creating warm, welcoming environments where everyone felt at home. Every Christmas or holiday meal, she'd always invite other people, some with no holiday plans at all. Our dining room kept on getting longer and longer. Throughout the years, it stretched right into the living room from the dining room. I'm pretty sure if Grandpa agreed to take down the living room wall, she would have happily kept on adding more seats all the way through the house. That's who she was. She was always making room for more, making everyone feel like family. In these stories, you can see how much love, curiosity, and kindness Mom brought to the world. She had an incredible ability to make everyone feel welcome. Not only through the sciences, she was able to inspire a sense of wonder through the world. Whether it was exploring nature, diving into a science book at bedtime, or turning everyday moments into learning experience, she nurtured our curiosity, our creativity, and made us all lifetime learners. Her legacy lives on for all of us who are lucky enough to know her. When the wind blows through the trees and the light dances on the ground, I feel her curiosity of nature. When I'm in gatherings organized by my amazing sister, I see her love of connection. When I hear stories of my wanderlust nephew, I see her curiosity of the world. When I'm doing science experiments with my boys, I feel a gratification of teaching. This woman was such a presence, a place of knowledge, a person of compassion. I hope everyone here has that moment in time when you're stepping back and you think, Mama Dee would really enjoy this. Thank you.
And now our friend Susan Pagani will come up and read a poem.
Hello. It's so nice to see so many friends. When Kelly asked me to choose a poem for today, my first thought was, oh, what an honor. And my second thought was, oh my goodness, so many poems. Choosing a poem for another person is really a funny thing because, poems are so personal. And books of poems are kind of like CDs. If you're lucky, you like maybe half of it, and the rest of it you're just kind of forwarding through. So as Kelly and I were choosing a poem, I kept sending her poems, and we'd keep flicking them forward. Anyway, what do we like about this poem? In choosing it, we thought about Dee and her commitment to science, her love of gardening. And I think this poem has one of each. It's got all of that, and it's kind of an anthem. And in its certainty, we can hear the echo of Mama Dee. Amen, by Dina Friedman. I believe in dirt, the promise of onion before it bulbs, and the kale's resolve to never succumb to killer frost. I believe in leaves, defiant despite holes bored by hungry bugs. I believe in the cycle of calcified shells and the power of compost to make things right. In raptors snoozing in their sky-high nests, in corn stubble, rooting radishes making space for next year's seeds. I believe in flowers that withstand the cold and the warm mud cradled in the creases of my calloused skin. I believe in digging and fireflies and pulling mint in midnight. I believe in singing wildly the crickety sounds of the night. Thank you.
You all know who this is.
Have to make it really low. We'll see how far I get. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. It's amazing to see all of the faces here. And if I look at, too many of you, I'm probably going to burst out into tears again. But it's just an amazing example of all of the eras of my mom. So I'm going to introduce a time where we have a couple people come up and tell stories. And in between each story, I'm going to tell a poem. So I'll give you a little idea of what that is. So there's a very old and wise spiritual framework called the Enneagram. Some of you may know of it. It describes 9 core personality types, each with their own strengths, challenges, and ways of moving through the world. I started exploring the types about 5 years ago, and it quickly became a way to interpret myself and the people around me, especially my mother. We suspect that Mom was a classic Enneagram 8. They're called the Challenger. 8s are characterized by their self-confidence, decisiveness, and confrontational nature. They can often appear powerful and domineering. They are driven by a desire for accomplishment, regard, and to be in control. That meant she could be intense, direct, and fiercely protective of what she cared about. Her sentences often started with, "You should," an opinion about what to do, whether it was warranted or not. And she didn't back down, and she didn't play small. When I'd admonish her for her forthrightness, I'd always get a, "What?" She never understood how she came across, and in her mind, she was helping. So while 8s project an image of strength and thoughtfulness or toughness, they also possess a vulnerable and sensitive core that they often keep hidden for fear of vulnerability and a sign of weakness. This is a gift of an 8, the lovely side that is under all that strength has a bigger heart, deep loyalty, fierce love, a tenderness that they don't give to everyone, but when they give it to you, it's for life. A drive to bring people together for the common good, showing up, always there. So today, as I mentioned, I wrote a number of poems of small memories I hold of her. I hope to show the side of her, the strength, the warmth, the humor, and the joy she carried for her people, the way she lived and loved boldly, fully, and without hesitation. Here's the first poem. We'll see how I do. It's called Brave. In the 70s, as a small child, I'd root through my mother's purse like an archaeologist searching for treasures, but for gum. Always cinnamon, Trident, or Big Red. Sliding that gum into my mouth was the bravest thing I knew, to keep it there, right at the tip of my tongue until the heat gave way to sweet. Fiery, bold, hot, and sweet, so was my mother. Her purse and her confidence smelled of cinnamon. It was her perfume, her brand. She strode the world in Dr. Scholl clogs, those hard wooden soles that could crush your toes if you wandered too close. The snap of her step matched the snap of her gum, unapologetic, commanding herself in every sound. That gum gave me my first taste of her power and of the sweetness that stayed long after the burn. The part of her that stayed soft for those she loved, that pulled you in close and made you feel that you could be just as strong as her. Now, I would like to welcome Carol Gross up.
We need to raise this again.
Just pull.
Oh, just pull. Hello, everyone. My name is Carol Gross, and I first met Dee in 1983 at the Itasca, well, it was the alumni Itasca weekend at the time. We had a Biological Sciences Alumni Society was formed in 1980, and 1981 we started this Alumni Family Weekend. And Dee, I was introduced to Dee, and I remember exactly where. It was in the assembly hall, and I was just impressed with her enthusiasm and excitement for everything. And we had a planning committee. I was on the board of the Alumni Society at the time, and we had a planning committee for Itasca that I was involved with. And not too long after that, Dee was invited to join the board, and she eventually became president of the Biological Sciences Alumni Society. And after that, she also participated in the Itasca weekend for years and years and years. The 1984, being a new alumni society, the college decided to have a career fair. And as an alum, I was approached about attracting vendors. And at that time, I think Dee had just joined the, at the time, the local chapter of Graduate Women in Science, which was Sigma Delta Epsilon, which was the Minnesota chapter. And I had been a member of that for a number of years. I joined in the 70s. And so we ended up crossing paths at both through the Biological Sciences Alumni Society and also through the Graduate Women in Science. And she then later on became very active in the society, and we ended up with a lot of meetings together, or programs and meetings together. And she moved on to the national chapter, and really, I think it was probably in the late 90s, she was joined the board. Later on, I think she had every position that was possible in the Graduate Women in Science at the national level. She was treasurer, she was newsletter editor, she started the first website, she had got involved with the planning and fundraising, and so she really was a major impact on that. And I stayed a member of that for many years too. And we ended up in local chapter meetings on a regular basis, so I'd see her at least once or twice a month for a number of years. Later on, there was a change in the biological sciences. There was a change in the deans, and when you have a change in deans, that changes all the dynamics of what happens. And they decided the office was not going to support the Alumni Society having their Itasca weekend anymore. And so the alumni then decided they would continue, or we would continue trying to do the weekend on our own. And so eventually they cut us off from everything, and so we're still pushing hard. A few of us are on the committee are here, I see. We decided we were going to try to keep it going anyway, and they did allow us to continue, but they wouldn't. We had to have our own special account and everything else outside the university. We couldn't use the email address, but we kept it going for a number of years, even that way. And Dee was one of the champions for that. She did a couple of things there. One of them was trying to keep from dissolving the Biological Sciences Alumni Society, which eventually one of the deans did. And she put together spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations about supporting and why it was so important to stay connected with your alumni, which they didn't understand. Now they're trying to do this again. They're coming back to me asking for money on a very regular basis. Anyway, so we had a really, and the one other thing that she did, we had to change the name of our group to Itasca Family Weekend because we couldn't identify with alumni anymore as far as the college was concerned. So we did have a reserve of money, and we weren't allowed to keep most of it, so we donated it to the college to support Itasca. So we Dee lobbied for and managed to get through paying for part of a building that was their new administrative and classroom building. So she fought to get our name on the donor wall up there. So we have our name on the donor wall as the Itasca Family Weekend. And one of my special memories, and I noticed there was a picture on the slideshow of, was it your dad's 70th birthday? My husband and I were invited to help out on a surprise party for him, which was held in a hangar, an airport hangar in south of the cities here. And we were asked to teach some Irish dance. McManus has a very Irish look to it. And somehow or other, they had quite a large population of people, and somehow or other they talked Max into coming in a leprechaun costume. and so we taught Irish dance to the group with Max in his leprechaun costume.
This one's called The Chase. My mom was legendary for her playfulness, tickle fights, kitchen sprayers, sneak attacks, wrestling matches in the living room, exciting chases through the house trying to shove ice cubes into each other's shirt or pants, and the mom squawk that happened when I was successful. But nothing matched the mix of joy and terror of mom chasing you up the stairs. Both of you giggle, screaming so hard that you had to drop to all fours, hand and feet flying, climbing as fast as you could, never quite fast enough. Her laughter echoed up the steps, closing the distance until she caught you, and the whole house was filled with the sound of her delight, breathless with happiness. I'd like to ask Julianne to come up. A lot of these speakers today are all the different eras of mom. I forgot to say that part.
Hello. June 16th, 1946 to July 3rd, 2025. May Dee's soul and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. I'm Julianne, Dee's friend and neighbor for over 30 years. We met while we were in training at Merrill Lynch Real Estate. Then I was lucky enough to have the listing on the house that was right next to ours, and I knew exactly who would be my perfect neighbor. That was Dee and Max McManus, along with Kelly and Brad. Together we watched our families grow. We shared in each other's joys, graduations, weddings, births of our grandchildren, accomplishments of our family, birthdays. We shared in each other's sorrows, the passing of our parents and friends. We did things like freezing corn together and green beans. We would spend moments in what we call the secret garden in front of their house, drinking coffee, maybe a glass of wine, just talking about what was on our minds that day. Organizing a neighborhood to rid it of crime, having neighborhood night out, getting street lights installed, attending a Master Gardeners event each year was always fun for Dee and I. But it took her a while to realize that I didn't know the scientific names to plants. To her it was echinacea, to me it was a coneflower. I grew up in a greenhouse background, not a college background. She taught the importance of pollinators to me. When I left my home at 9815, I left a pollinator garden that is a registered monarch station, and that's thanks to Dee. For anyone that goes down County Road 46 and Kenrick Avenue in Lakeville, you'll look at the Quick Trip and you'll see a stand of oak trees there. And they're there today because of Dee. She was on the Environmental Affairs Committee for the City of Lakeville. And when that property was going to be developed to put the Quick Trip, they were clearing it out, and she came around that corner that morning and saw 2 trees being cut down, and she stopped her car, got out, told the gentleman who she was. Those were the only 2 trees that were cut down. The rest of the trees are standing there, those beautiful oak trees, thanks to Dee. Of course, many of you probably have heard the story about how she fell face forward into Kelly's graduation cake. After a few choice words, clearing the frosting off of her glasses, she put that cake into our refrigerator in our garage, and then she went on about getting rest of the party set up. And if I remember correctly, late that night, her dad convinced her to get that cake out, and we scraped up the crumbs and the frosting. She was my dear friend. I will miss her. Butterflies will always make me think of Dee. Eating a walleye sandwich at the Blue Ox will always make me think of Dee and the times we had lunches there together with Max. And then Christmas is going to come around, and who's going to bring us some of that great wild rice soup that only she could make? I have a little poem to read now. It's called How Do You Live Your Dash? I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone, July 16, 1946, the beginning to the end, July 3rd, 2025. He noted that first came her date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved her know what that line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the car, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. And be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that that special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say and how you spent your dash?
Testing. As a teenager, I tried hard to make her cry. I was a brat, pushing, testing, looking for the crack in her armor. She never gave me the satisfaction, not once, at least not where I could see her. Her tears, if they came, belonged to the quiet hours in the rooms I wasn't invited to. Strength, even when it hurt, was part of how she loved. Mike's going to come up and read a message from my Uncle Kurt. Hi, Kurt and Bonnie. They're on the live stream in the magic little box there.
Okay, for this, first of all, you have to imagine that I'm a little bit older and far better looking. Dee's brother Kurt lives in Montana with his family and is, as Kelly just mentioned, with us on the live stream. He sent the following memories to share. The first is from 1951 or 1952 when Kurt was 10 or 11 and Dee was 5 or 6. I was teasing her about something when we were outside in the garden. It must have been in the spring because the garden was just spaded up. No rototillers in those days. Anyway, my teasing produced anger on her part, and she reached down and pulled out a piece of rusty horse harness junk from the dirt and threw it at me. It hit me on the forehead at the hairline. Of course, it bled enough that it looked like we had been in combat. Mom hustled me off to the hospital to get stitched up, while Dad proceeded for the next 10 to 15 minutes to chase Dee around the yard and through the neighborhood to catch her so he could give her a heaven forbid spanking. It was this chase that started the legend of Dee's stubbornness. By the way, I was the one who named her Dee. I stuttered all the time back in those years, and I couldn't say Darlene without a lot of contortion. So I christened her Dee to save embarrassment on my part, and it stuck. Fast forward 15 or 16 years, after the military and aircraft school, I find myself working at Northwest Airlines in Minneapolis. I was working on midnights. Our crew was doing the checks on 727s after they had flown all day. On that crew was a kid from Hawaii by the name of Dee McManus. We all called him Mac. He had not been tagged with Max yet. He and I decided to be roommates and did that for a few months. I got tired of the midnight shifts, so I decided to move back to Montana to work on mail planes. When I was moving out of Mac's place, it was really a big mess, and I felt bad for him. So I recruited Dee to come over and help me clean up my mess. She did. I left, full stop. Advance another year. Late one night in the middle of September, I get a phone call, and it's Mac. I hadn't heard from him since I left the Twin Cities. He wanted to know if I had anything planned for the end of November, and if I could be in Minneapolis. I said, "Why? What's going on?" He said, "I want you to be my best man." "Of course, I'll be there," I said. I'd have put money on his career bachelorhood prior to this phone call. Then a woman gets on the line, and I recognize that it's Dee. She sweetly says, "I want you to be my best man too." What? I think the Brits have a term for it. Gobsmacked. That's what I was. Not a clue. Dense. Completely. Sometime during all that, she decided to start calling him Max instead of Mac, and the rest is history. After Dee's passing, Max made a big point of it to thank me for bringing them together those many years ago. I'm tearing up again, Max, just thinking about our conversation. I need to thank you for taking care of my sister better than any of us deserve, at least to the extent that she would allow you, correct? Thank you, brother. My prayers have been with you all to ease your grief and sadness.
Mom music. Nothing was softer than resting my head on her lap, ear pressed to her chest, the steady rise and fall of her breath beneath the sound of her voice. She would talk and laugh with the neighbors, friends gathered for the evening, and I would hover in that half-sleep space, not wanting to go to bed, not wanting to lose the muted swoosh of her words and the warm rhythm of her laughter flowing through me. A lullaby without music, the sweetest song I knew. Okay. I gotta find it. Hang on. Intermission.
Technical difficulties.
Okay. I will.
By chance?
No. In my purse in there. There's some more. Is Bonnie here? I haven't seen her yet. Oh, Bonnie, why don't you come up while we look for another thing to read?
Hi, I'm Bonnie Barnack. My husband Gary worked with Mac for probably 35 years, so over the years we camped together. Went to Oshkosh, and we went up to Lake Itasca for the biological sciences family weekend with the University of Minnesota. And I guess one of the memories that I have of Dee. One of the programs that they had up there was making soap, hand soap, and we were told to go out into the environment, into the woods and the grassy area, and find some colorful leaves or plants or something to make our soap colorful. Well, I found some little red berries, and they look so pretty. And I grabbed them and a couple of stems actually, and brought them back into the building where we were making our soap. And oh my goodness, the women who were there said, "That's poison ivy." Little did I know. But yeah, as I said, Dee often mentioned that or talked about that, and it's one of the fond memories that I'll never forget or let go. So, thank you.
Yes. She taught Max Henry to play canasta when he was 5. Small hands holding a fan of cards, card sense as sharp as hers. They played for hours, game after game, like it was the most important work in the world. She was a teacher at heart, even in her grandparenting. Microscopes and chemistry kits, insects in jars, dinosaurs, reptiles, and later Lego upon Lego. She always said yes. Yes to one more game. Yes to building just one more set. Yes to the kind of time that nurture a love of science and nature, opened with quiet patience. Her joy was in showing them the world and in letting them know they were her favorite part of it. Elena? I'm just shaking. Here, it's right here. Okay.
Hi everyone. I'm going to read a memory on behalf of my mom, Amy, who also cannot be here today but is watching from the live stream. My husband and I first met Dee and Max about 21 years ago when our friendship with Kelly and Mike began. They moved in across the street from us and our girls, Marley and Elena, and who are close in age to their son Max. Very quickly, that friendship grew into something more like family, and Dee and Max became the bonus grandparents we didn't even know we needed. From the start, Dee welcomed us in. She invited us to holiday meals, came to our girls' circus shows and concerts, celebrated birthdays, and showed up for all the moments that mattered. My kids called her Grandma Dee, and it wasn't just a nickname, it was exactly who she was to them. Loving, supportive, always interested in what they were doing. She sent birthday cards, asked for updates, and cheered them on at every milestone. When we met her in 2006, she was in the middle of a cancer treatment, though you never would have guessed. She was upbeat, confident, and had complete faith she'd recover, and she did. I'll remember Dee in many ways, as someone who could talk about science and health for hours, who always had gardening tips and plant magazines to share, as someone who was incredibly proud of her children and grandchildren, and who was generous with her time, and especially her advice. But when I close my eyes, the picture I see most clearly is Dee sitting at a table, maybe on Mike and Kelly's patio, maybe at her house in Lakeville, arms crossed, a little smile on her face, simply soaking in all the love around her. There's a moment in many women's lives when they realize they're becoming their mother. Kelly and I laugh about this often, when one of us says something in just the way that our moms would, or makes a familiar gesture. I know that I'll keep catching glimpses of Dee and Kelly for the rest of our lives. What a gift to be able to keep her with me in that way. Lastly, the only excuse I can imagine being okay to miss this was to drop my daughter off to pursue a graduate degree, something I know that Dee would have been very proud of. Thank you.
This last story is from Dee's sister Roxy, who can't be here today. She's on the live stream. Hi, Roxy and Doug. Roxy is Dee's other sibling is Roxy, her little sister. Roxy was here during Mom's hospitalization and passing, but is back in Spokane, where she and her family live, and they're watching on the live stream. Mom and Rox are 9 years apart, I think. But they're very, very close. Here's her 2 stories. Dee so wanted to experience a woman for president during her life. It makes me very sad that it didn't happen. Back in 2016, Hillary Clinton was running for president, and Dee was beyond sure she was going to win. I wasn't so sure, but knowing Dee following the race better than I did, I had bought into this happening. Dee called me later the night of the election to let me know that Hillary was winning. So my mom. Both of us were ecstatic and went to bed that night thinking what a great race it was. Unfortunately, as we all know, that wasn't what happened. I always gave Dee the credit for jinxing the outcome. Even in the last election, I just had to mention what happened again, and I told her I wasn't going to believe it at all in the 2024 election results. The first time a woman becomes president, you can bet I will be the most vocal, so Dee can even hear it in heaven. Dee often said how different all 3 kids of our family were, from looks, personalities, and ideals. A perfect example of this happened when our mom passed away 20 years ago. Dee and I were with her, and we placed a call to Kelly, me, to share the news. Well, Dee shared all the factual details, and I couldn't talk as I was crying so much. It was then that Kelly named Dee CNN, and Roxy was Oprah. As different as we were, we had so much in common as well. She was the best big sister to me, and I miss her so much. This is the last poem. It's called Hi, Kiddo. Every call, every voicemail, every hug hello began with the same words. Hi, kiddo. She said it when I was little, when I was grown, and when she was strong or sick, and even at the end. 2 words that wrapped around me like her arms. 2 words that meant home. 2 words that meant I was hers and she was mine. Always.
As many of you know, I'm a big crier. That is not the case, but today it is. By the way, Kelly wrote all those poems. Those were little vignettes, so very moving. Now we're gonna have a little more music. Van and Kathy.
This is a song that if you feel like singing along with us, feel free to do that. Swing notes. That's the key that it said. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming forth to carry me home was a band of angels coming after me, coming forth to carry me home. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, coming forth to carry me home. But still my soul is iron bound, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. The greatest thing that I can see, coming forth to carry me home. When Yeshua washed my sins from me, coming forth to carry me home. Now if you get there before I do, tell all my friends I'm coming to. Somebody sing, swing low, sweet chariot, come forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come forth to carry me home.
My mom and I attended church for a while. My mom was a raised Catholic, and she always said that she was a recovering Catholic until she found St. Joan of Arc Church. For any of you who don't know St. Joan of Arc, it's a social justice forward, not conventional church, and she really, electric guitars for singing, and I didn't really practice this, so I'm just rambling. It was a really amazing church, and we went there until I was probably around 16. One of the things that she loved so much was that they didn't pray to the Our Father, they prayed to the Our Mother. It's very much my mom. So while we didn't have a lot of traditional church here today, this one felt very fitting. So if you all want, however you feel, to say the prayer, it's listed in your program. Our Mother, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. There's a little bit on some versions in there. Thank you.
Okay, just a few final words before we conclude. Restrooms are around down the hall there. And some of you know that Dee really loved monarch butterflies. Over the past couple of decades, she planted and cared for her pollinator gardens so monarchs would have a place to thrive. In many cultures, monarchs symbolize immortality, the return of the soul year after year. So if you see a monarch in the days ahead, think of Dee. Picture her in bright, determined flight, still moving through the world, still with us. And before you leave today, step out to the front patio and look at her own pollinator box. It's bed number 5, where her flowers still grow and the butterflies still visit. When you leave today, please take a packet of pollinator seeds in Dee's honor, plant them, help the butterflies thrive, and let her presence find you in their wings. Thank you all for coming today, and thanks to all of you who helped put this event together. There's refreshments and snacks on the tables in the back. Looks like it looks like we have a lot of desserts, so go for that. Thanks again.
Speaking of the microphone.